Either way, nothing is free. And the moment you realize that, it gives you the prompt to always ask, what is this taking from me? Is this worth it? Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I am Patience. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about money lessons that is best learned when you're in your 20s. Now, it's never too late to ever start learning about finances. This is certainly money lessons that I think is really good if you learn in your 20s, because it will set you up for a great financial future. You still have time and the resources and the energy to turn your financial situation around to set yourself up for a good financial future. And if that sounds interesting to you, certainly remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's get straight into it. Here are some good money lessons that you should learn in your 20s to help set yourself up for your future. I'm in my 20s, I'm 23 years old, and I'm certainly trying to set myself up for a good financial future. This is the time to be aware. I know sometimes we want to YOLO, FOMO, live our best lives, and you can certainly do that on a budget. If you're able to take advantage of the time that you have now to save, do things that are financially sound, in the future you will not put yourself into a pickle where you're struggling so much, living paycheck to paycheck in regret and feel like, oh, if I just known earlier. Well, here I am, hopefully spreading the message to anybody who wants to know about some things that we should learn, that I have learned and continue to learn in my 20s, setting myself up for a good financial foundation and good financial future. And one of the first things I've definitely learned is that nothing is free. Absolutely nothing at all. We trade something, decide what your price would be. When people give you things, it's not free. Very few times you get free things. Even in your 20s, when you get some stuff from your parents, it's not always free. It comes with the fact that they have an opinion in your life. When you become completely independent, which I did become when I graduated college and started working, it's certainly different from when I depended on my parents. Because even though you can live at home for free, then your parents has opening into your life. If you're able to pay your own bills, live completely independently on your own, then you have the more power in order to determine your life and where you want to take your life, your future. Most people don't have a say into your life as much. If you're a type of person who's always borrowing money from people, who is always depending financially on other people, you are opening yourself up to people having more inputs into your life. Even certainly with things such as college. Most college is not free. You can either go in debt to go get your degree, you can work hard in high school, get an academic full scholarship, or you can get a partial scholarship and apply to all different types of scholarships to go to college. Either way, you pick your price. Time in high school where you're studying, working hard, grinding, and going to the college that offers you the most amount of money or offers to pay all of it. You can go to a college that you like, that is not paying for all of it, so you're picking to pay with money, future dollars, because you don't have the money now. When I was in college, I went to the college that offered me not the most amount, but like the most reasonable for the cost. And then I spent a lot of my time between high school and college applying for over 200 scholarships in order to go to college debt free. So when I talk about going to college debt free, some people may think, oh, my parents paid for it or got one scholarship and it covered everything. That's not true. I put in a lot of time into my schoolwork, keeping my GPA well, and in time in applying for scholarships. Because even though I applied for over 200 scholarships, believe me, I did not get anywhere near that. The percentage is like lower, but it was enough to cover me full time. Even now in grad school, I could have decided to quit my job, go to grad school full time, and have more time to study. No, I'm working full time. My job is helping me pay. I got a scholarship from the school, and that's how I'm paying. So again, time, money, either way, nothing is free. And the moment you realize that, it gives you the prompt to always ask, what is this taking from me? Is this worth it? Am I giving up something more than I would have if I had the different options? And what are the different options? And you stop being desperate and you start asking important questions and holding strong to your beliefs as well. And the next thing to learn is that while money is everywhere and money is plentiful in this world, oftentimes in our certain life when we make a budget, it's limited in that capacity of, it limits what you can do. It's a limited resource for most of us. You can give up more of your time for money, but at the end of the day, most people in a certain capacity can only earn up to a certain amount. Even for, say, Jeff Bezos, he's not making $1 trillion a year. He's still within his capacity to earn. There's a limit to it at a certain point. Now, certainly you don't need millions and billions to live a comfortable life, But for the average person, it's important to realize this, because when you are able to find out what you can create, the type of money your talent, your time can create, you can either give up more of your time and work more, or you can try to become creative and find a different way to earn money. And there's certainly things that you can do. But know that most people just don't have enough money to cover everything they want in this world. Even if you made $1 million, you would want a bigger house, you would probably want a bigger car, you would want a yacht, a plane, and $1 million a year can't cover all those costs. You would need to earn more. So there's a limit to how much we're creating now, and finding the lifestyle that fits within it, that you're living below it so you can save, is certainly important. And that's why it's important to create a budget. It's important to create a budget for how much you are able to generate now, how much you're able to gross and net today, and to live well below it, to make sure that you know where you stand and how to plan for the future within that. It would be nice if money grew on trees and we can just go pick it up anytime we want, but that's not it. And we have to live in this realistic world and deal with realistic things. Going on to my next point is continuing the idea of trading your time for money, and most of us have to work. But then also, what are you buying with that money? And would you trade that time for that item? So for example, I go out and buy this, and this is some expensive Louis Vuitton pillow for $1,000. It's not. IKEA. Still great, by the way. But let's say it was. You buy this, you find it, you love it, and you want to get it. Think of it also as a time in your day. Let's say it takes you an entire week to earn $1,000, and that's gross after taxes, after everything. Probably doing a week and a half to almost 2 weeks just to get $1,000. If I told you to work for free for an entire week or two to get a pillow, a designer pillow, for $1,000, would you do that? Maybe let's take, for example, a car. A car is $30,000 a year. Let's say you're able to gross and then your net comes to about $30,000. Would you work a whole year for free just for that car? So when we start thinking about it that way, we start to see things as the value of the time that we spend just to acquire that thing. And some people who would work and earn hard-earned money only to spend frivolously. One of the most frivolous things that we spend on is eating out. How long is it taking me to buy this food? Some people like to make the excuse of grocery stores are expensive today. Grocery stores and grocery shopping will always be cheaper in comparison to eating out and ordering in. You can't convince me otherwise, unless you're just buying from Whole Foods and you're buying filet mignon, seafood, caviar, and that's not what the average person is ordering out. You're not ordering for ribs and seafoods and a seafood broth every single day. Ask yourself, how much am I spending buying this food when I could just cook it? If let's say you spend $20 a day buying dinner and another $10 buying lunch, well, like, oh, it's just $30 a day, good. How long does it take you to earn $30 a day? The minimum wage in the United States is still under $8. If you're earning minimum wage of, let's say, $15 minimum wage, what the time it will take you to go grocery shopping, buy that, come home and cook it, you can literally save more money per day doing that and have more food left over for the next day and the next day and the next day than literally trading that money for the food that you're buying. And that's why for me, I always take my food to work, even though I can afford to buy food at work every single day that I go in. I can afford to maybe eat dinner out more times than I do. What am I gaining from it? When I'm able to spend my time right now cooking, I gain more from that, because the time that I work is for the money that I certainly need. And I'm not going to trade that money in just because I don't feel like cooking. So that's certainly something to look at. And if you earn under a certain amount of money, I don't even think you should be looking at eating out on a regular, maybe once in a while socially. And that's what I do. I eat out socially. There's sometimes where I feel lazy, but I've literally cooked dinner at like 10 p.m. rather than ordering food, because I'm like, no, it's not worth it. It's absolutely not. And certainly that moves on to my next point, which is that if you say yes to something, you're certainly saying no to something else. And we don't always think about it in that way, but oftentimes we do, and it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. So let's say I'm hungry today and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm saying yes to ordering food. I order, I tip, and let's say everything comes up to like $35. Because I said yes to that food, I said no to something else in my future. People spend $5 a day, let's say 5 days a week on Starbucks coffee. It's $25 a week. and you say yes to that. But at the end of 10 weeks, that's $250, and you have 52 weeks out of the year. So even at $25 a week, that's well over $1,000 a year. What could you have done with $1,000 a year? Even if people who go on vacation when that they can't afford, and they go and they spend, let's say, $1,000. So they said yes to vacation, and they said no to financial stability because they went into credit card debt to do it. All these people going to concerts that they can't afford, buying these overpriced tickets. They said yes to the concerts and no to financial stability. People out here complain about they don't have enough money to pay rent, feed their families, and yet they're saying yes to leisure things. Getting their hair done, going to the spa, getting a manicure, pedicure, a massage. All these things they're saying yes to, they don't know that inadvertently they're saying no to financial stability because money is limited for most of us. But then also it could be something like saying yes to any time with somebody, doing some activity. So if you say yes to it, you're saying no to the free time that you could have gotten an extra job or even just relaxing. And now that I'm working full-time, well, full-time sometimes, and I'm also going to grad school, I'm doing YouTube, my time is very precious. So I'm very careful about what I say yes to and who I say yes to, because I don't have a limited amount of time, and there are only 24 hours in a day. On the weekdays, I'm working 10 hours a day, so like that's certainly a lot of hours. And then my schoolwork and everything. I'm very careful what I say yes to, because I'm saying no to relaxing, I'm saying no to schoolwork, I'm saying no to working more. Which goes on to the next point, that everyday sacrifices leads on to building character and a better future for yourself. Sometimes people will say $5 Starbucks coffee is like all I have. It's all I have for my day, for myself. But that's not a necessity. It's something that you can give up as a form of sacrifice for a better future. You have to be willing to give up something in order to reach financial stability and create a better future for yourself. If you're never willing to sacrifice your comforts, it's going to be very hard to achieve it, even if you earn a lot of money. That's why about 50% of people who make over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people think once they make six figures, you're going to be okay. But if over 50% of them are living paycheck to paycheck, it should tell you something. It's about learning to sacrifice momentarily for a better future for yourself. When I bought my car, I spent a lot more money because car prices were very inflated. I decided I don't want to be in debt anymore, and I want to do everything that I can to cut this down. And I cut a lot of things out of my life, a lot of comforts, things that I just gave up in order to make that sacrifice, that temporary sacrifice, in order to put as much money towards my debt as possible, because I didn't want to live in debt anymore. I was tired, don't want all these payments. And so I sacrificed so much so I can get out of debt. But there are people who don't want to sacrifice. They want to have their cake and eat it too. And most of us can't do that. So you have to decide what's important to you. What is important and what are you willing to give up for what's important? For me today, I'm still sacrificing in order to save, to invest. I certainly want to live my best life. I'd rather save now and have it and never need it than for the emergency to come along and I have no money to cover it. Same with retirement. You know, I don't know if I'll live to the age of retirement. I hope I do, but I don't know. But certainly I hope to save enough that if retirement comes for me, if I'm blessed enough to reach retirement, I have enough money saved for that age, rather than to be working till I'm no longer here, because I refuse to save now because I wanted to live the best life now. So there's a balance to things. Which goes on to the next point. Don't make temporary situations your entire life or your entire identity. Don't take on something that's so temporary and take it on as if it's gonna be your life forever. I know sometimes it can be over dramatic, and when you are so much in the moment, you can't even see beyond that. It's really hard to see a future beyond where you are at the moment. But remember that times change, people change, situations in life change. Of course, a lot of times you have to put in the action to make those changes, but you can for the future. So for example, I'm renting currently. I'm certainly feeling how expensive rent is getting, because rent goes up every single year. I moved from my old apartment to my new apartment, had to jump in how much I paid for my apartment, but I'm not making this my permanent situation because I know that I'm not going to live in an apartment forever. So I want to save for down payments for a house in the future, because I don't want to rent forever. One of the biggest costs in people's budgets is the cost of housing, certainly my budget. So if I'm able to make that more stable, have a house that I'm building equity in, that would really help me in my financial future and contribute to my future net worth. Not making rent be my, oh, I'm gonna just rent forever and I don't have any money to save. I'm making space in my budget to save for the future and to save for the future that I want. So certainly look at the situations that you are now. Even if you're working 2-3 jobs and going to college and struggling, it's not going to be your future forever. Don't make your temporary situations feel permanent because you're so into it. Come up, look above the water, and see what's ahead of you. Which goes on to the next point, which is to look long term in your money, in your financial security, in what you want out of life. Don't just look at today. It's so hard for us to see beyond when we're just looking at today and trying to make the best of today. And certainly live in the present. Live in the present is so good for you, but think long term. And that was something that I certainly did in college when I was applying for all the scholarships, working in 6-7 classes because I didn't want to stay beyond 4 years in college and I didn't want to take out any student loan debt. It was hard in the moment. But I thought about the future without student loan debt. And before that, I was willing to sacrifice for the long term. Had I not, I would have maybe wanted to get some student loans and pay it off. But I thought about the long term. And sometimes it's hard in the moment. In a situation where you feel so tired, exhausted, you're working, you're putting your absolute best. Sometimes your best doesn't seem to be enough. It's certainly hard. I'm not gonna underestimate that at all. When we're able to look long term, there's some level of clarity in that future that you can see, you can imagine. It seems so close, and it gives you the power to just keep on going. And you most likely would not even regret it. I would definitely not want to go back and do it, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad I put in all the hard work then so I can enjoy now. And I'm glad I'm putting in the hard work now so I can have a better future. Sacrifices never finish. You know, it feels like you never finish sacrifice. That's the world for you. We pick our battles. And the last but absolutely not the least is a quote that I came up with. I think I pretty much came up with this quote. I don't think I still took it from anybody else, but sometimes, you know, when you come up with something, but you don't know if you heard it or you made it up. But I definitely think this one is uniquely mine. Okay, so I said, life is not about money. It's about the moments that we're having, cherishing our friends or families, you know, experiences. But 9 times out of 10, money can help create those moments and those experiences that we all so want. When we start talking about money, a lot of people get sensitive. You may be called superficial, materialistic, or too focused on money. My rent payments does not take anything but cash, okay? They don't take love, they don't take generosity, they don't accept patience, they don't accept good, kind hearts. My utilities paid in cash. Go on vacation, paid in cash. But also the Bible says the hand that does not work does not eat. And it also says somebody who doesn't provide for their family is worse than an unbeliever. And one of my favorite, no discipline at the time seems pleasant, but rather painful. In time, however, it yields a harvest of righteousness by those who have been disciplined by it. Even though as Christians, a lot of Christians don't like to talk about money, there's a lot of money talk in the Bible, wealth as well, and about saving for the future. Investing. I mean, the parable of the master who gave out the talents or the investments or gold to his servants and expected them to invest it. Life is not about money, but until we take a different form of currency, it's certainly important, and it's important to talk about it. And that's one of the main reasons why I started this channel, because I really don't think that money should be such a taboo topic to talk about. And it's important that we put this knowledge out there so that we set ourselves and other people up for success. Because if you don't talk about it, if we don't let people know, if we don't learn from other people's experience, we're literally repeating generational curses and generational traumas of money trauma. We are repeating poverty cycles that we could have done better in. And for me, I certainly want to have a better future for myself. And so I am not afraid to talk about money. I know sometimes it makes people uncomfortable. That's why speaking on YouTube is so much easier, because I'm not giving any unsolicited advice, and hopefully the people who need this knowledge are the people who get it and seek it out. There are things that are more important in life than money. But at some point, when you need to pay your rent, when you need to pay your car payments, pay your medical bills, they only take cash or credit. The point is, they take money, okay? And until the day that I see that my rent payments is being paid for in love and kindness, conversations are very important. So with that, I am bringing this video to an end. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm trying to keep it lighthearted, but then making sure that I communicate the points that I find to be very important. These are things that I've learned and I'm continuing to learn, because it's always changing. But but I'd like to share what I'm learning on the journey so far. Oftentimes the conversation is the same. You can leave in the comment section your thoughts on everything that I had to say, what you agree with, what you don't agree with, and just your overall opinions of this. And what have you learned? What are some really important lessons that you have learned in your teenage years, 20s, 30s, at any age? Remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring notifications off because I post 2 videos a week on Tuesdays and on Fridays. Come on over. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.